Back in the day, in the golden age of recording from the 1950s through the early 2000s, but I'd say especially beginning in the 1970s, bands chose studios to record their records in based on the sounds of the records they loved. Studios had a unique and characteristic sound. This comes down to everything from the console to the engineer, but the biggest part of it was the drum sound. Drum sounds were highly individual to specific studios, so much so that big plugin manufacturers like UA have created reverb plugins based on these rooms. The Sound City plugin, Sunset Sound, Capitol Chambers. All of these rooms had a thing, and the biggest foundational part of the record was the drum sound. And in your studio, you can get a characteristic drum sound all your own. A big part of this comes down to the room mics, also putting up treatment, knowing how you want your room to sound, and shooting for that sound from the beginning. We're going to talk about how to get a badass drum sound in this video. When you're engineering a drum sound, every piece of the puzzle is huge, and you need to be aware of everything going on in the room and everything you're doing. From the stereo room mics, which were so important to my drum sound in a way that a mono room mic wasn't doing for me. It really just opened up the room and gave me a lot of versatility to these acoustic panels, to the books behind me, how hard I'm hitting the cymbals, how hard I'm hitting the drums, the way they're tuned, the close mic positioning. Everything is vital if you want a good drum sound. That's why they used to work for a week on getting a drum sound for a big record, because the drums are the foundation. Let's talk a little about the close mics. There's no crazy expensive mics here. My newest mic, my newest studio workhorse mic is this United Twin 87. It's a clone of a Neumann U87. It's got a vintage and a modern mode. It's supposed to be a clone of both those mics, and it sounds great. That's why I have it above the floor tom in that overhead position, because that position gives you the best picture of the kit, even better than this mic's going to give you. And you can see that it's not a matched pair. In fact, this is a dynamic, that's a condenser. What makes it stereo images is the differences, not the similarities, so I'm not too concerned about having a matched pair of overheads. I want to try a ribbon over here, try a different condenser. I want to make the mic locker here as versatile as it can be, so I'm trying to get a lot of different mics. Now, my rooms are a matched stereo pair. I've heard Eric Valentine say that if you listen to When the Levee Breaks, the multi-tracks of that, or even just the recording, Bonzo's drums have a wildly different sound on the left side from the right. And they were using a matched pair of Neumanns, but for some reason, that stereo image is very different on the different sides. So over here, I have an Audix i5. I'm pretty happy with how it sounds. I like the overhead sound of these mics. I'm using a 57 on snare top, nothing on snare bottom. This is a Sennheiser E835, which is more of a vocal mic, but it's dynamic. It sounds pretty good on these toms. It's pretty full sounding and really picks up the frequencies that I'm looking for from the toms. I usually always cut some 350, 360 around in there, no matter what mic I'm using. Of course, a lot of people use the 421s, so I figured putting a Sennheiser mic on the toms wouldn't be a bad thing. I'm using a Shure Beta 52 on the kick. I'm just using a kick in mic, no kick out. And that's the close mics on the kit right now. Everything's subject to change. Let's go over and talk about the room mics. Whoa, quick edit. I almost forgot to tell you about the giveaway. I'm doing a giveaway with Audioscape, maker of killer pieces of analog hardware compressors, EQs, mic preamps, and they also make plugins. And they've given me a full suite of their plugins to give to one of my lucky subscribers. Just click the link in the description, subscribe to the channel, and you're entered to win. Good luck to you. I want to take just a moment to talk to you about the channel. I make these videos not only to educate and to have a creative outlet for my art and my music, my engineering, but also to create a community of not only musicians, but also music lovers in general. If you look back at past videos, I have a number of them about my favorite artists. People like Mike Campbell, people like Keith Richards, and also people like Rupert Neve, who designed the 1073 mic preamp. I have one of those in my studio, and also the 80 series consoles that recorded some of the most legendary music ever made and are still recording great music today. There's a few things you can do to help me grow this channel. Number one being, watch the video till the end. That's really going to help the algorithm push the videos out to more people. Also, like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can catch these videos first when they come out. That also helps the algorithm tremendously. Also, the music you're hearing for this video is getting ready to come out under my artist name, Thirsty Deer. I upload my music to the streaming services. I have a number of songs up there. Go check out my music. Here are the stereo room mics, AKG P170s. Inexpensive but really great sounding, especially on this stereo bar. Great for getting XY pattern, which really corrects all the phase issues that you could possibly have. Take a look at the hardwood floor. That's a huge part of this sound. The paneling on the walls, it may look like drywall, but it's wood paneling as well. It really, I think, reflects the sound in a different way. And I thought the TV was going to be a problem, but putting the room lights in the middle really helped that, so I'm not getting such a direct reflection. I was going to put up like a packing blanket that I could roll down, but I didn't need it. And then come over here to the preamps. We have Chandler TG2s and that Neve 1073. It's actually BAE, which is the most accurate recreation of the 1073. Outboard power supplies, and every track goes through these. I only have 3 mic preamps here. I'm using 7 microphones. Some of them are going into the Focusrite, but then after they're recorded, I'm putting every track back out through the TG2s or the 1073. Those Chandler TG2s, also great sounding, legendary mic preamps, did Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, what more do you want? Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few tips that I've learned in my time recording and mixing drums. First of all, if you'd like to see the plugins I use or even my mixing template, leave me a comment and let me know that. I can make that video, do screen captures, run through everything with you, but it's a lot of work. So let me know in the comments and I'll make that video for you. I will say I'm obviously a big fan of Neve and Chandler stuff, BAE, but on the kick drum, I do love the API Vision channel strip from UA. Just boost at 50.68 dB. It's a great rock and roll sound. Very important to be aware of is phase. Check the phase always when you're tracking, but then check again when you're mixing. Check the phase on every single microphone, because getting your phase right is vital to a great, huge drum sound. Also be aware of sympathetic instruments ringing, or even sympathetic overtones from furniture or metal in your studio. I always keep a napkin underneath my guitar strings on my acoustic to keep them from ringing out. And just be aware that that can be creating a problem, and maybe you don't know where it's coming from, but that could be it. Also, WD-40 on the kick drum before you track drums every single time. I use a Ludwig speaking pedal. It's a great pedal, I love it, but it can get squeaky, and that can ruin a great drum take. So these are some tips that I've learned to add to that big, huge drum sound. Things to think about, things that can interfere with a great drum take. We'll be back again soon with another video.